Hello everyone, today we are gonna learn math. We are gonna learn specifically about Spearman's rank difference correlation coefficient. This is the formula for Spearman rank. Rho is equal to 1 minus 6 times summation of d squared over n times n squared minus 1, where d is the difference of two sets of ranks, n is the number of pairs. Spearman's rank difference correlation coefficient is also known as Spearman Rho. This test is used to determine if there is an association between two non-parametric variables. It is applicable when the set of scores that is available is in terms of rank order and the set of score is small or less than 30. When our n, our number of pairs, is 10 or greater, the significance of Rho can be computed using t-value. We can use this formula. T-value is equal to Rho square root of n minus 2 over 1 minus Rho squared. Remember, alpha, our level of significance, is 0.05 or 5%. df, our degrees of freedom, n minus 2. tv, our tabular value. cv, computed value. .05 or 5% is automatically used unless there is a specific given for the alpha or our level of significance. The specific table for values to be used for the tabular value will be based on the alpha. The tabular value will be based on the degrees of freedom. The computed value will be based on the answers using the formulas for Rho or Rho and t-value. The decision will be based on the comparison of the computed value and the tabular value, where CV is greater than TV, then reject the null hypothesis, hence HR or higher reject. And if CV is less than TV, then accept the null hypothesis, hence LA or lower accept. Remember HR, LA. HR, higher reject. LA, lower accept. So here are the steps for completing the table. Step 1. Rank the given numbers with the greatest number as 1 and the smallest number as the n, depending on how many numbers are given, and place them in their specific column. D1 for x, D2 for y. Step 2. Subtract the D1 and D2 in each row and place the answers in another column labeled as D. Step 3. Square the numbers in column D and place the answers in a new column labeled as D squared. Here is our example. X and Y will serve as their examples. Here are the numbers for X. Here are the numbers for Y. Then we have our columns D1 and D2, where we place the rankings of the numbers from columns X and Y. Under X, we have the greatest number 39. Put 1 aligned to 39 below D1, and so forth. We have two 20s under X. When there are repeated numbers, just get the average of their rankings. 6 plus 7 divided by 2. Then continue with the number following the last number when solving for the average. Then we have the rankings for numbers in column Y. Then we have our column D, which consists of the difference of the numbers in columns D1 and D2. Just subtract the numbers from D1 and D2. Next, we have the column D squared, which consists of the square of the numbers from column D. After making the table, we have another steps in solving. We have solved for the summation of D squared. Just add all the numbers in column D squared and label it as summation of D squared. Next, determine the n, or the number of given pairs. Next, the third, note that if n is lesser than 10, you will only solve using the raw formula. However, if it is 10 or more, you will solve using both formulas, raw and t-value. Also note that in looking for the tabular value, if you are only using the raw formula, you will use the table of values for raw. But if you use the t-value formula, you will use the table of values for t-distribution. So here, our summation of D squared is equal to 198.5. Our n is equal to 11. Next, we write the formula for raw, then substitute, then solve. Our raw is equal to 0.1. Since our n is 11, it is greater than 10, we will continue solving using the t-value. We write the t-value formula, then substitute, then solve. Our t-value is equal to 0.30. Next, state the null hypothesis, the given alpha, and the process used. And then, state the answers from using the formulas. That answer will serve as your CV, or computed value. And then, solve for the degrees of freedom, and use it to determine the TV, or tabular value. Then use the TV to compare it with the CV, then decide. Decide whether the null hypothesis will be accepted or rejected. So here, our null hypothesis is stated. There is no significant difference between x and y. B, our alpha, our level of significance, is 5%. C, the method we use, Spearman rank difference. D, our raw is 0.1. And the next, E, degrees of freedom, which is having the formula of n minus 2. Substitute it, 11 minus 2 is equal to 9. The next, we put our TV. We use the table of values for t distribution. So we found there our TV is 0.6. The next, compare our CV and TV. Our CV is 0.30, our TV is 0.6. Our CV is less than TV. So remember the HRLA. HR, higher reject. LA, lower accept. So our CV is lesser. LA, lesser accept. So in our decision, the null hypothesis is accepted because the CV is lesser than the TV. There is no significant difference between X and Y. Here we prepared another example for you. You try. You can pause the video to answer and play to reveal the answer. Are the answers, the table, and the formula for raw. Did you get it right? Here are the other answers until decision. So our decision is the null hypothesis is accepted because the CV is lesser than the TV. There is no significant difference between AB and CD. Did you get it right? If you did, give yourself a round of applause.